Nobody tells you this. The harder you try to figure it out, the slower your life moves, and that's not laziness. That's biology. Let me explain. Most people think clarity comes from thinking harder. So they overanalyze, they replay conversations, they scroll for answers, they journal, they pray, they research, they plan, and still feel stuck. Not because they're doing it wrong, but because they're forcing a system that only works when you're calm. Your nervous system decides what information you're allowed to access when you're anxious. Your brain goes into survival mode, and survival mode doesn't create clarity. It creates urgency, control, overthinking, doubt. That's why when you're stressed, everything feels confusing. But when you're relaxed, answers just appear. Think about it. Your best ideas never came when you were panicking. They came in the shower, on a walk, driving right before sleep when you weren't trying. Clarity isn't something you chase. It's something that arrives when your body feels safe enough to receive it. That's the part nobody teaches. You don't need better thinking. You need better regulation. When you stop forcing, you stop rushing timelines, you stop comparing paths, you stop begging the future for proof, and suddenly opportunities line up. People respond, ideas connect, doors open. Not because you pushed harder, but because you stopped blocking yourself. This is what growth looks like. You trust the process, you move when it's aligned, you rest when it's unclear, you act when it's obvious. No panic, no pressure, no pretending, just precision. If this hit you, comment, "I'm letting it unfold." And save this for the next time you feel lost. Because nothing powerful was ever created in panic. Here's something nobody tells you. When life finally starts working, it feels like you stopped trying. And that confuses people. For most of your life, you were taught this. Push harder, try more, prove yourself, grind, hustle, fix yourself. So effort became your identity. If you weren't exhausted, you felt like you weren't doing enough. But then something changes. You regulate, you heal. You stop living in survival mode. And suddenly, things start flowing. Decisions get easier. Opportunities show up. Your nervous system is calm. Your mind is clear. And you think, wait, why isn't this hard anymore? Nothing broke. You didn't get lazy. You just stopped fighting yourself. Most effort isn't ambition. It's fear. Fear of failing. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing control. When you're dysregulated, everything feels heavy. You overthink, you overwork, you overexplain, you overprepare. Because your body thinks danger is everywhere. But when you're safe inside, you don't force. You respond. You don't chase. You attract. You don't beg for validation. You move in alignment. Flow isn't luck. It's what happens when resistance disappears. If you feel like a life is getting lighter lately, if things are working without struggle, if you're calmer than you've ever been, that's not a plateau. That's integration. You're not losing motivation. You're losing survival mode. that's a win. If this makes sense to you, comment flow. If you're learning to stop forcing life, share this with someone who's exhausted. And follow for more on nervous system regulation.
I tell you something most people never learn. If you're waiting, but it feels uncomfortable, you're probably doing it right. We're taught that waiting means you're lazy, that if you're not pushing, grinding, forcing, you're falling behind. So when life slows down, when answers don't come, when doors don't open, we panic. We start questioning ourselves. We start overthinking. We start trying to force clarity, but here's the truth. Waiting isn't passive. Waiting is active regulation. It's when your nervous system is learning to stay calm without immediate results. It's when you stop reacting and start listening. It's when your old identity dissolves before the new one forms. This phase feels empty. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is reorganizing. You're between who you were and who you're becoming, and there's no roadmap for that space. So it feels like nothing, but it's actually alignment. When you force, you move from fear, you move from scarcity, you move from I'm running out of time. When you wait with awareness, you move from stability, from clarity, from self-trust. Big difference, same time, different energy. If you're in a season where you're not rushing, you're not panicking, you're not chasing, you're just steady, you're not stuck, you're integrated, you're building capacity, you're becoming unshakable. Most people quit in this phase because it doesn't look impressive, it doesn't get applause, it doesn't feel exciting. But it changes everything if you're in this season. Type steady in the comments. You're not alone. Nothing needs to be forced when you're aligned. And waiting isn't weakness. It's mastery.
Let me mess with your head for a second. When you're anxious, time feels like it's attacking you. When you're calm, time starts working for you. Most people never notice this. Think about it. When you're stressed, a 5-minute wait feels like torture. A quiet moment feels uncomfortable. A slow season feels like failure. Your mind starts screaming, hurry up, fix this, figure it out. You're falling behind. But nothing is actually wrong. Your nervous system just isn't safe.
Here's the truth. Time doesn't change.
You do. When your system is dysregulated, you experience time as pressure. When your system is regulated, you experience time as space.
Same clock, different reality.
In survival mode, your brain is scanning for danger. So every second feels urgent. In regulation, your brain feels safe, so every second feels usable. That's why calm people don't rush.
Not because they're lazy.
Because they're not afraid.
When you force life,
You're racing an imaginary deadline. When you're grounded, you realize there was never a race. You start moving slower.
and somehow getting more done.
This is why growth feels weird. You stop panicking. You stop chasing. You stop proving, and suddenly...
Days feel longer, decisions feel clearer, progress feels natural,
Not exciting.
stable.
If your life feels slow right now,
That's not stagnation.
that's nervous system repair.
That's capacity building.
That's power loading.
You're upgrading the system.
If you felt this shift,
If time feels different lately,
come and come.
you're waking up to it.
Nothing needs to be forced when your system is safe.
Because calm people don't chase time.
They expand inside it.
Most people quit right before life starts moving for them. Let me explain. There's a phase in growth nobody prepares you for. You've been showing up. You've been doing the work. You've been healing. You've been changing. But nothing looks different yet. No big results, no applause, no obvious breakthrough. So your mind starts whispering, maybe this isn't working. Maybe I should try harder. Maybe I should force it. But that's the trap. Because right before momentum carries itself, it feels like nothing is happening. It's like pushing a car uphill. At first it's heavy. Every step takes effort. Every inch feels exhausting. That's most people's life. Constant pushing, constant proving, constant forcing. But if you keep going, there's a moment, a quiet moment, where suddenly the car tips, and now gravity is helping you. That's momentum. Not hustle, not burnout, not pressure, alignment. Your habits line up, your nervous system settles, your confidence stabilizes, your identity upgrades, and now things start happening without panic. Opportunities show up, people respond differently, ideas flow easier, money moves smoother, relationships feel lighter. Not because you tried harder, because you stopped fighting reality. Most people never reach this phase. Why? Because they quit during the silent build-up. They mistake calm for stuck. They mistake neutral for failure. They mistake nothing happening for wasting time. But underneath, everything is rearranging. Your brain is rewiring. Your standards are rising. Your tolerance for chaos is dropping. Your clarity is sharpening. You're becoming the person who doesn't need to chase. So when momentum arrives, it feels effortless. Not lucky, not magical, stable. You're no longer pushing the river, you're finally floating with it. If life feels quiet right now, if things feel slow, if you're not forcing anymore, you might be closer than you think. This might be the moment momentum is learning how to carry you. Don't rush it. Let it build, let it move. And when it does, you'll realize nothing ever needed to be forced.
You don't need more motivation. You don't need more discipline. You don't need another push. What you actually need is permission. Permission to stop forcing, permission to stop proving, permission to stop trying to become someone you already are. Because when something is right for you, it doesn't require burnout. It doesn't require panic. It doesn't require you waking up every day feeling behind. That's not growth. That's survival mode. And a lot of people confuse survival with success. They think, if I'm not exhausted, I'm not trying. If I'm not anxious, I'm lazy. If I'm not chasing, I'm failing. But that's a lie. Real alignment feels calm. Real momentum feels steady. Not loud, not chaotic, steady. And when you enter that state, you stop dragging yourself forward. Life starts carrying you, not because you quit, because you stopped fighting yourself. Most people aren't stuck because they're weak. They're stuck because they never gave themselves permission to rest, to breathe, to grow without punishment. So they keep forcing until their joy fades. Their energy disappears, and they think something is wrong. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just tired of fighting yourself. This quiet phase, this slowing down, this loss of old motivation, that's not laziness, that's regulation. That's your system saying, we're safe now. And when you honor that, everything changes. You move better, think clearer, attract instead of chase. This isn't motivation. This is permission. Permission to trust yourself, permission to trust the pace, permission to stop forcing what's already unfolding. If this resonates, You're not behind. You're finally arriving.
Let me tell you something most people aren't ready to hear. If your life feels quiet right now, you're not stuck. You're finally regulated. For most of your life, you were trained to believe that growth feels like pressure, like urgency, like anxiety, like something is always about to fall apart. So when that disappears, your brain panics. It says, wait, why isn't anything wrong? Why am I not stressed? Why am I not chasing? Why am I not proving? And you start thinking something is missing. But listen to me. Nothing is missing. What's missing is the chaos. When nothing needs to be forced, life gets quiet. No emotional emergencies, no constant self-doubt, no invisible deadlines you made up in your head. Just presence, clarity, breathing room. And if you've never lived there before, it feels uncomfortable. Because your nervous system was addicted to survival mode. Stress felt familiar, overthinking felt productive, burnout felt like ambition, peace feels empty at first. Not because it is, but because you've never been here. This is what alignment actually looks like. Not fireworks, not constant motivation, not hype, stability. You stop chasing, you stop forcing, you stop performing, and things start responding to you. Opportunities show up, conversations shift, people treat you differently, because you're no longer leaking urgency. You're grounded, and grounded people move differently. Some of you watching this right now are thinking, yeah, but if I slow down, what if I lose momentum? No, you lose momentum when you're exhausted. You lose momentum when you're dysregulated. You lose momentum when you're running on fear. Calm doesn't make you weak. It makes you accurate. It makes your decisions cleaner, your boundaries stronger, your energy magnetic. That quiet you feel, that's not boredom, that's not stagnation, that's not failure, that's your system saying, we're safe now. We don't have to fight anymore. And that scares people, because they've never felt safe inside themselves. So if your life feels quieter lately, if you're not chasing the same things, if you're less reactive, congratulations. Nothing needs to be forced anymore. And if this helped you understand where you are right now, save it.